Well, I know that, but it's
Um,
just fascinating.
sorry. Before we freaking get too deep into this, I got to ask you the question.
Ask it.
Do you weld?
Yes, audio aligned.
Sweet. How am I gonna do this? Okay.
How does that help you align the audio?
Because usually it's a back and forth, and when I don't talk, you're usually talking. So when you say yes, audio aligned, I say sweet immediately after, so that I know exactly. It's close enough that the human ear can't distinguish a difference, but it's enough for me to see where all the breaks are in our speech patterns, and then I can line it up that way.
Good Lord. Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. I'm gonna go tell Tyler that I'm recording. Um, Video is going, uh, and it's capturing audio too alongside. So I don't think the lining up there is gonna be an issue. Um, I just have to turn that off because we just jumped right into this. I wasn't prepared. So I'm gonna go tell him I'm recording, and then we can go. You can talk candidly to the people.
Oh, jeez.
Do that.
Man, I don't know what to talk candidly about. Come back. Um, this guy
Door.
locks his door so no one comes into his room. I don't know if I like that, Eric. I don't know if I like that, but you know what I do like is that when he goes back to edit this, he'll be able to hear all of this. I know that when he's editing, he'll chuckle just a smidge. But anyways, this week's podcast, man, this is a lot high pressure having the video portion. This week's podcast, I don't know where it's gonna go. I threw a couple of ideas at Eric on the old Snapchat. Um,
Oh, the sweet aroma of basil and cedar.
Basil and cedar. You got a candle going?
I do. Yankee
Oh,
Candle.
Yankee candle, huh?
Yankee Candle.
Yankee spanky.
What the fuck? No.
Um, what was I gonna say? Where'd you get the candle from though?
Amazon.
Interesting.
Yeah. I did it mostly because we have someone in our building that smokes literally fat joints right outside of our
Fat joints, huh?
fat joints. You can literally see his remnants of those fat joints in the stairwell.
Nice.
He just leaves the remnants, and it makes our whole apartment just reek of weed.
Yeah, that's me
And
for
I
the other tenants.
and I
Oh
can't
shit.
do it.
Hold up.
I can't.
Whoa.
Bless
God
you.
damn it, dude. So annoying.
I literally can't because it makes me like gives me a massive headache.
That sucks.
It really does.
Um, dude, I totally just forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh, candles, yeah. My hack with candles, obviously, because I'm a broke ass bitch. Um, Grocery store, clearance section. There's good candles in there. I'll only buy them if they're good,
Yeah.
you know? Usually they're like the lid's broken or something, or like the label's like ripped off, or like the scratch and dent section, you could call it.
Oh yeah, where you get candles for literally half the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, it's not a waste though. Like,
And
I don't know. That's what I do.
would you say this is at Target or
No, this
Walmart?
is just at the grocery, dude.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't venture out pretty much anywhere else but the grocery and the gym. Like,
hey,
those are the only two places I go.
what's your grocery store you go to?
It's called Smith's.
Smith's.
Yeah.
Is that like a Costco?
No, it's like,
What's the other equivalent of a Costco down there?
Sam's.
Sam's Club.
Yeah. Smith's is like Albertsons or like a Safeway
Mm.
kind of a deal. Um, and then there's Vaughn's. Vaughn's would be more Albertsons, I think.
Have you ever considered doing your grocery shopping at Target? Or they
Ah,
just don't have the food. Not they don't have the food.
well, it's for me, it's the proximity too. Not close enough.
That makes sense.
It never used to be a thing, proximity. I used to just, go to the places I liked, but now I'm like, dude, I'm settling for whatever is easiest.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When we're doing this, are you looking at yourself majority of the time when you're talking?
Do I might look at myself while I talk, and then when you go to talk, I look at you.
I
I don't know where to be looking.
I catch myself looking at myself all the time.
Because we don't want to embarrass ourselves.
Right. Mine's clearly on the left. Yours is on your right.
Well, yeah. I got it up on the monitor, but the camera's down here.
Right.
So
I don't think anybody cares. I'm gonna do my best, my darndest to look at you.
yeah. Yeah. I want to know what I look like though. Um God, what do we do now? Jump into it?
Yeah, I think we should. I will say the last several podcasts have been. I shouldn't say several because we probably have a total of 7. The last couple, the last couple of podcasts have been on the more philosophical side, I would say.
The sad side.
The sad side. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I want to liven this podcast up a little bit so people that are new that come and listen don't think that we're just shitting on life every
Oh, I know.
week.
We're supposed to be uplifting, but you know what? I think it's good that we're real and we're authentic and we express that like we are no special human beings, just as you are also not. So, I
Thanks.
mean, it is how it is, man. Like nobody's really that special, but
Right.
I'm like, we're just dudes, man. We're just dudes doing dude things.
I know it. I saw this TikTok the other day and it was this it was this girl. I can't remember the full context of the TikTok, but it was this girl and she was like a third person or making fun of. It was like, "Oh, so you're a oh, so you're a man who has a podcast?" Something rather along those lines and
Oh
you're
God.
like boasting about how rich you are or whatever. And I went in the comments. Freaking comment sections on TikTok, dude, are for legendary. It was I'm going to assume I didn't go on each account, but the first like 20 were all guys and they were all saying, "It's sad that you think that we do this for the money. In fact, we do it for the money, but we don't get the money."
We did get scammed.
I haven't.
Freaking scammed.
I still need to call them on that because I
Yeah,
just don't know. I just have been lazy and haven't done it. So,
that's okay.
what did
It's
you?
okay.
Let's see. You wanted to talk about something
Don't
today.
say it. Don't say it. I got to think more about it.
I
I want to know where that sparked from.
Yes, I was just interested. Going back and reading. I just wanted to because I couldn't remember what it was verbatim.
Oh, I know what sparked this idea.
Okay. Well,
But
let's not get into that yet.
yes. Okay.
Gosh, you got something else you want to talk about?
No.
Oh. um but wanted to start off with just asking you, how was your week? What'd you do?
Grow up.
If it's boring, dude, it's freaking boring.
No. Trials and tribulations is what I would call it.
Okay. Can you
Dude,
elaborate?
just a like abnormally rough week. We're gonna
Abnormally
we're
rough.
gonna stay positive about it because that's
Sure.
the only thing I could do the whole week.
Right.
But it was just like one thing after the next, and I just caught myself like laughing at like I'm just like, dude, what? I'm like, why is this still happening? Just like relentless, but I mean, you got to learn to laugh at it at some point. You can't just be a Debbie Downer your whole fucking life.
Right. I saw that you played video games, some vids. We call video games vids. So you played some
Yeah.
vids with Liam.
Yep.
What'd you play?
Craft.
Oh no, dude. Are you hooked?
I don't think I'm hooked only because we don't got the full squadron there. We
I
need
could
all four.
see. I could see that being true. However, you and I got hooked. So
I know.
what is the difference between then and now? I wonder.
Um, it's just got to be. I think as I've gotten older, I just like to see bigger groups of people hanging out.
Speak of the devil.
It is. I just like to see bigger groups of people having fun at the same time versus
Yeah.
like the one-on-one.
Would you say that's more of an adult perspective? I
Yeah,
think it is.
it totally is.
Right. Because I'll just give you a little bit of something here. So I'm now on spring break for 2 weeks.
Nice.
And my roommate and we've been trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Last night we were thinking about maybe going out, but we just couldn't decide, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then we might go out tonight. I don't know. It's 4:30. We might. I don't know. But every time we would bring this up and kept talking about it, there was like a voice in the back of my head saying, "I don't want to just go with him and I. That's boring."
Right? It's a little bit boring. But
Because I think you develop more of like a need to mingle, I guess.
for me, it's like if I have an opportunity to influence happiness in a larger scale, I would much rather do that than just go out with like my one person, you know?
Right.
I don't know why.
That's
I mean, I love the quality time with an individual,
right.
but
Right. And I think there's certainly a time and a place for that.
yeah.
See, I would like to know an old person's perspective. Let me get my parents on the
Mm,
line.
yeah.
I
Interesting.
I always call my parents old, and they are. I mean, and it's funny because the fact is that they are old and they know this. And this is hold on, I just gotta mention something
Yeah. Let it rip.
about my parents.
Okay.
So I try to call my mom probably, I don't know, at least once or twice a week. I just, and it's usually a quick conversation
Yeah.
while I'm walking to the train, something quick.
Yep.
Well, it's snowing in Oregon right now, and they got like a foot of snow or something like that,
Right.
or
Right.
2 feet. Was it 2
Yeah.
feet? It's something crazy, right? So I called my parents because my phone's blowing up about Oregon being snowy and stuff like that. All my friends
Mm-hmm.
who still live there are informing that it snowed.
Yeah.
And I made a joke in our group chat. I'm like, oh, ha ha ha. It's like we switched states. Who would have thought? Because usually New York's known for having the blizzards and the snow.
Yeah.
Now they have it, and it's been relatively nice. It's been cold. It's like 20 degrees outside right now. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I call my parents and I just ask them, I'm like, how's it going? My mom goes, yeah, your dad went skiing. I called them at 6:00 my time.
Oh, so it's 3.
3 for them. My mom goes, yeah, your dad went skiing yesterday around noon. And I'm like, What? Yesterday was Wednesday. Not literally, but when I was talking to her, I'm
Yeah.
like, yesterday was
Right.
Wednesday. Noon? And she goes, yeah, noon. He went skiing. I'm like, does he not work anymore? And then when I called the day that we were actually calling, it was 3 o'clock their time. And my dad's like, yeah, I'm going to go cross country ski around the neighborhood. Do you know what
Oh,
cross country skiing
okay.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to go cross country skiing. 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's got to be the best.
Again, in my mind, the thought came up, do you not work anymore? What's going on here? I think my parents are getting a little case of senioritis.
Dude, that's pretty that puts a smile on my face, dude. Good old Doug is getting out there, getting active.
Just imagine Doug Olson.
Dude, activity level. That's great.
But
Screw the job.
well, it made me laugh because they're both in their. I think my dad's 56, my mom's 55, so they're getting to that point in their life where it's time for retirement,
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I don't think the average age of retirement in the United States is 55 any longer.
There's no way it could be.
So I don't know. That just made me laugh. I thought that was funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is funny. That's hilarious. Dude, when you were telling that story, I just look out the window and being here in Vegas, I actually can't wait for it to be like 120 outside for some reason.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready for it to be so hot that I don't even want to go outside. You know?
I guess
I don't know why it's a feeling that I get.
That makes
But
sense.
I just love seeing the blistering heat. Just like, damn.
You know what? I will say I also agree with that because every time I've visited Las Vegas, it's been 105, 113, whatever. And to me, I'm like, this is great.
It is.
I always tell people, I'm like, screw the humidity heat. The South, Oregon's got humid heat. New York, but there's something about the high desert heat that just hits different.
It's so much better, dude. It's like a sauna, but without the humidity. It's like the same intensity.
It just sucks the soul out of you, and I love that.
But it like sucks it out and then puts it right back in. You know?
Exactly. Because you know what? You're refreshing yourself with the alcoholic beverages.
Oh. No.
And it's funny because, dude, more recently in the past, I would say the past month, I've been thinking about this because it's inevitable. When you're falling asleep, the thoughts just roll through your head. They're just endless, right? And sometimes it makes it really hard to sleep or fall asleep. And I've been thinking every night, or like I'm walking to the train or whatever. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, I just want to take a month off and just go stay with Taylor in Vegas for like a month. Drive my car down there, completely pull out the engine of the Pathfinder, reseal everything because it's got leaks, of course. Do the rear main seal, just pull it out, slap some new parts on that bitch. Freaking pristine. I think about that and I'm like, all the good times we've had in Vegas, I'm like, and just after the end of working on the car all day, go to the strip, get some drinks, have a good time, just freaking let loose, bro.
I like this.
I've always told everybody I'm not a big alcoholic drinker. Like I just don't drink hardly ever. Like at home, I don't drink ever hardly. If I go out, there's a very high likelihood that I don't get anything. The only time I ever drink is socially. And even that's more on the rare occasion. But I also like having a good time. So if I need to throw down some drinks, I totally will throw down some drinks. Because for me at least, I'm such a type A person, and all of my professors and uh, my mentors in graduate school now, they always say, Eric, you're too stick like. They're like, you got to stick up your ass. They don't
Yeah.
really say that, but that's what they're implying. And because it's true, I want things to be perfect, and I've got a very set goals for myself. But it's nice because when I start drinking, those qualities tend to start going away, and I like
Mhm.
being able to just not really, to just let go a little bit, I guess you could
Be a
say.
little loose.
Yeah, get a little loose. I like that.
Yeah.
Just because I get freaked, dude, I start laughing. You
Huh?
know how I am drunk.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it's good to have those moments, I think.
See, and like I guess one struggle that I have is if somebody invites me out to go grab a drink, I don't know why I don't think I ever really accept that offer. I think I try to deflect it. I think I try to reroute it towards something else. Like I just don't like that sort of an environment of drinking. Like I don't like going to the bar and grabbing a drink with the homie
Have
for
you
some
ever?
reason. I've done it once and I just it makes me feel really uncomfortable. It's like I would rather be in a group of people drinking
Oh, I see what you're
than
saying. I see what you're
like
saying.
on a one-on-one situation.
So, would you rather then go to a bar with a group of people than just individually?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You like that setting more than just one on one.
I
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
I feel like I can be more myself in a bigger setting than I can in an individual setting.
Yeah, because you're roasting the shit out of people.
Pretty notorious for just ripping on people.
Just, you know what's really funny? I'm not gonna name the professor, but um, I had a professor once just annihilate, annihilate our generation.
Ah, good.
Just annihilate us.
Nice.
And he goes, you know, he was saying, "Oh, everybody's just so soft nowadays."
I love that.
Because he was saying he was because he's a composer,
Yeah.
and it's funny because uh he's an older individual, and he goes, there was this TV show on back in the day, and at the beginning of it there was a warning, and he goes, everything's a trigger warning now. A color is a trigger warning. And he said this in front of the whole class, and
Yeah.
I'm just loving every second, every word, every letter coming out of his mouth. I'm just like, seriously.
See, it's like for me, when I hear like the older crowd, older generation speak in that kind of a way,
Yeah,
that is something that also kind of fascinates me is because of their like difference of opinion or different perspective or just the age,
right.
just aging with age. You look back at the younger crowd. I'm sure every older crowd to the younger crowd has always said that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna say that. We say that about Liam. We've said
Yeah.
it about Liam, and so it's just funny because even our generation who get they get triggered by everything. I have a hard time thinking. I'm like, well, why? I'm like, did you never get made fun of? I'm like, my parents made fun of me all of the time. I and I'm not messed up about it.
Yeah.
I'm like my friends. And it's funny. I'll tell you this little story. I told this to you a long time ago, but I'm going to bring it up for the podcast because I think it's brilliant, right? So, over the summer before I moved to New York, I went and visited my family, and my dad had his class reunion, his like 20th or third, I don't even remember, high school class reunion, whatever it
Something
was.
rather.
So my dad's best friend came in. My dad's older brother came in. So they're all there. My dad's younger brother, my dad's older brother, my dad, his best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And myself.
Okay.
So my dad grew up in a small town in Oregon, like small. He grew
Mm-hmm.
up, the only things you did are you played sports, you went hiking, fishing, and hunting. Those are the things you did.
Nice.
So they were telling me about, and it was in over the summer in Oregon. We had a fairly hot summer, and it was one of those days that it was like 98 degrees. So we were all like, let's go swimming, right? So
Mm-hmm.
their famous thing, small town, not near a city. So finding those swimming holes where you're like 30 minutes away, not even, right? So they're all like, let's go to our old stomping grounds. Let's go to the old swimming hole where we
Oh
used
my
to
gosh.
spend the whole day just fucking around, right?
Yeah.
So we all cram in to this Toyota Tacoma.
Nice.
Mind you, these are grown ass men. You've seen pictures. I don't know if you've met my dad's younger brother, but he's pretty jacked. He's huge.
Yeah. You always talk highly of him.
Right. So he's freaking jacked in there. Then my dad's on my left. My uncle, my dad's older brother's in the front, the passenger seat, and then my dad's best friend's driving. So me and my dad are like this in in the back seat, and my uncle's just being a freaking stinker. He's like nudging me, like poking my side, just being a nuisance to society. Anyways, I can't tell you some of the stuff that was happening in this car, some of the things that were said, but we were on our way up there, and they were just ripping into each other. Just all of us, or all of them were, and I didn't say a word because I was just awestruck with what was coming out of these these guys' mouths. I'm just like,
Is this gonna end well, or is this gonna be a shit ending?
I don't know.
All right.
But I'm relating it because it made me realize, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like Taylor, Yanni, Jeff, Desmond, Alex, myself. I'm like,
foreshadowing.
oh, dude, I'm like, we do this all the time. Yanni, just the butt of everyone's jokes, and it's not getting any of it. It's just going in one ear, out the other. Just the dumb. Just I'm not kidding you. The same thing you and I, like what our group does all the time.
Yeah.
It was identical, and I'm just sitting in there just baffled. I'm like, I thought this was going to be a boring car ride, talking about work and how much work fucking sucks and how much being adult sucks. And they're all in there calling each other inappropriate things. You know what I mean?
You know,
That's not true, but
right.
you get the gist.
I guess that's another reason why I like being in the group setting is because, like, typically I know that the group setting is going to have the best group of personalities you could possibly fit into a friend group.
Oh,
Our friend group is so well stacked.
it
You
has
have
everyone.
It doesn't have one missing personality out of the group. It's got the perfect flavor. I'm like, tell me I'm wrong.
No,
though.
that
Like,
is so true.
and like I guess that's why, because I look forward to that environment so much that I will turn down like hanging out with just individuals until we get together and we can just, dude, it's like if we could record that in an organized fashion somehow,
Right.
that would be the best sequence of sentences ever rehearsed or played.
It's not even rehearsed. It is
No.
just improv.
It's just perfect.
There's not a silent moment. It's
No.
like
No.
it's just tumble. It's just
Yeah.
the trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And
And for some reason, as we've all become more adult, the honesty has started to come out of everybody. Everyone doesn't care to be honest anymore. Like they are just blunt, and it's just
oh.
like if you fucked up, dude, they just tell you you suck, like flat out, and it's just like, ooh,
Ooh.
I guess we're older,
Yeah.
like, but it's okay.
And you know what's funny? And I'm not for this at all, and I never really have been. I'm not, the drama, I don't the second drama happens, I'm like, I'm out. I can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But it always, without fail, always happens.
it does.
It always happens. And it's usually the dumbest shit. Something like, you didn't get a drink with me last night. Taylor biting his tongue.
I can't speak too much on past events.
But you know what I mean? But it only adds to the experience because it's a story you get to tell. Because I can
Yeah,
tell you exactly what happened that night. It was arguably one of the better nights we had. This is referring to when we went to Vegas or whatnot, or when we were all in Vegas.
yeah.
And we, you remember now, yeah, there it's clicking in now. But it's just like, I remember that. And that was just a shit show. But it was one of the better nights we had.
That was the best shit show you could ever have.
Because then we all went back to the hotel and just roasted the shit. Just throwing things at each while someone was trying to sleep. Just,
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
we got to run it up again.
That's the
We got
problem,
to.
man. We don't get enough of that no more.
And
You know?
see, and that's what's hard about it because we're all doing our own thing and we're all trying to be successful, obviously make a living, and obviously trying to survive in the world that we live in, that it's hard for all of our schedules to line up, you know? For me, I get summers off. I'm still in school. I get summers off, but our other friend like you and
Yeah.
some of our other friends, you guys have full-time jobs, so you don't get summers off like I do or spring break off. You get a weekend. Or if we plan something, you might have to take a couple days off, which could be pretty detrimental to the overall monthly income, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Financial status of that month. So it's
Yeah.
hard.
It is hard.
It's like the hangover. It's like literally like the hangover. You have to have some sort of special event to do it. But
Yeah.
I think it's so important to just make a once a year thing, and everybody knows that this is our same time every year. We're going here. No no girlfriends, no freaking significant others, just the boys being like we're back in high school, you know?
God, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all are super responsible in our lives and what we choose to do,
Yeah.
but we gotta there's something inherent about being boys.
Dude, yeah. It's like
When you have
it
kids, then we are talking differently. But until
yeah.
you have kids, I don't want to hear it.
So here's a I guess maybe that was what sparked the off-roading adventures is because you got a little taste of that.
Yeah.
You know, you got a little taste of that freedom of the like ability to be with the bros and just like do whatever the fuck you wanted to and have zero repercussions for it.
Right.
Just like obviously legally in a legal fashion.
Right.
I think I said that before,
Yeah.
but right, like I said, I was like, I feel like I'm doing illegal activities,
Right.
but like, I don't know. There's just something about releasing all that like testosterone in like that setting, just like
Yeah.
screaming for no reason, throwing a gallon of milk at a tree because it's the end of the weekend and it's time to go home and you never drank it.
But that's just the thing. It's you know, women, they always they always are like, oh man, they just don't, they just don't have any thoughts in their brain. Literally, when the guys get together, there are no thoughts. It's just
No,
who
it's all
can,
words.
it's who can be funnier than the next guy.
Yeah. How
That
do
is
you top
all.
that?
That is
The
all it is.
competition.
That is all it is.
Yanni will win 100% of all competitions in that format.
Oh, he will go. He would run. He would streak. He would. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Streaking. He would
Yeah.
streak to win.
He would. He would put it all on the line to be the funniest person in the room. The funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my life was when we went Walmart shopping
Oh
with
no.
Yanni. And I don't know why the man felt inclined to buy a watermelon. But like, it was just so funny to see Yanni walk around the store holding a watermelon the whole time. Yeah, and then he probably isn't comfortable with me sharing the rest of that story, but it just gets so much better and worse at the same time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Just good times. We need to plan another trip. We need to plan a trip to
Yeah.
Vegas. We do.
I don't think we do Vegas.
No?
I think we need to do a regathering.
Of
I think
sorts.
we need to do a regathering. I really enjoyed that Bend trip. I think that was really beautiful scenery. Like that whole perfect weather the whole time. Like we
Boy.
couldn't have picked a better
Talk seriously. That was, when I say that was perfect, that was perfect.
Dude, I love that we just still refer to it as the Bend trip.
Oh yeah.
It's like a bookmark or like a
Oh yeah.
like it's pivotal.
It is forever in there. And
Yeah.
I just remember we had we had 3 coolers. 3 full of alcohol. 3. We
Yeah.
bought so much alcohol. I'm pretty sure Jeff and Yanni took the remaining amount left over
Oh yeah.
that lasted them like 5 a year. I'm pretty certain.
I don't think it was a year,
But a
it was
long ass time.
months. It was months. It was at least 3 months.
Oh yeah. And I just think about the videos that you send of the Bend trip, dude.
Oh my gosh. I love when that shit pops
And
back up.
sometimes for me, I'm not a phone like when I'm in a group setting, I don't sit there and pull out my phone. And sometimes I regret that because you miss those things and I just want to be present in that.
Mm.
But the thing you sent like the other day, that had me rolling. I completely forgot about that.
Fuck, I don't remember what I sent.
It was Yanni was recording. And we had all just woken up. It was early morning, right? I think we had been, what?
Yanni was recording?
Yeah. And remember, he's just like, Eric, sing opera. And I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But that's just a thing. Dude, we have to. That was, and golfing. Oh.
Yeah.
Pivotal.
Yep.
It was
I was making food.
Yeah, it's okay that you didn't go, but now it's just like, you got it. Oh yeah, we need to run it up. But that is so, it's just like you said, like a bookmark, the Bend trip. And we almost didn't get that because remember the Airbnb people almost canceled on us, or they said, oh, well, we're selling the house. And we're like,
oh, it was in the middle of like a owner transfer.
Right.
They still honored it.
Right. That place was awesome.
That was a beautiful house.
Hot tub in the back.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
You know, I'm like, some sort of cabin trip like that. Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Or
I liked
Aspen or even Bend. I mean, Bend, Oregon.
Yeah. We'll figure something. We got to figure something out. 4th of July.
The 4th of July. Oh
Uh,
my god, sizzling bitches on the 4th of July.
sizzling bitches.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Anyways, I don't know how long we've been going.
48, no, 41 minutes.
Oh, that's not that bad.
What the
See,
heck was I gonna say? Oh, go ahead.
no, you go. You figured it out.
Oh, I'm going to California on Monday.
For what?
Monday. Um, a Hoonigan event.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Did you ever? You said that Faust was coming to the shop. Did he ever? Did you ever end up? Did that ever end up happening? And other people, for Chris Forsberger, you said he was coming too. Did that ever happen?
Their cars were never on the dyno. Um,
But
that, yeah.
did they go though? Did you meet them?
I never met them. I never saw them.
But they were there.
I don't know.
Oh,
Because they weren't like at the shop. There was three different elements to this.
oh,
So they were at a different portion. But
ah,
I think they
too
were at a
bad.
different portion.
Too bad.
But
I would have had
yeah.
you totally do a fangirl moment with Faust.
FaceTime you?
Yep, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
Been
Yeah.
following that man since I was like 10.
At the ripe age of 10.
Oh yeah, probably sooner than that.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's nice. That'll be kind of a nice little getaway. You gotta do stuff when you're out there.
Well, I can't. I'm going to
Oh,
California for work reasons. I gotta
you
be at the
don't
shop.
have pleasure moments. All
I
work,
mean,
all work, no
just
pleasure.
attendance. The attendance is kind of the pleasure.
Oh,
But yeah, I gotta be up early, bro. Haven't been up that early since oil field days. I
ooh,
gotta wake up at like 2. Yeah, because I gotta be at the shop by like 3.
you're driving, huh?
I don't know if I am or my boy Clayton.
Well, you're driving to,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's me, Clayton, and Hank.
How long a drive is
Um,
that?
it used to be a 5-hour drive, but they changed the location, so now it's only 3.
Is
So,
this in like L.A.?
someplace
No.
in California.
Oh, it's just in California. For whatever reason, I thought it was in L.A.
Their headquarters used to be in LA.
Oh,
Now they're in Compton.
ah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because we're, being in Manhattan, I'm proximity of literally everything. Boston is a 5-hour train ride from. That's a 5-hour train ride.
Train ride.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so unfamiliar with this train. What if you got to take a shit while you're on the train?
You take a shit. It's like an airplane, but it's a train.
Oh, are those bathrooms icky?
No, it's not like the subway trains. These are like Amtrak trains.
Oh,
There's an Amtrak train that will take you from the West Coast to the East Coast. And
what?
yes, I dead ass might do that with Tyler, and we might come back, drive back to Oregon, but take a train back. And you get to literally see the whole United States,
What?
through a train. Tickets are
Why do I feel like?
ridiculous.
Oh, I was like, dude, that'd be such a cool date idea.
Yeah. So you could do it
But
for 4 days. So you just don't stop. Well, I think you like stop once, but it's 4 days, nonstop train, and
well,
they have It's like those movies you see, like the Polar Express. It's like those
mm-hmm.
trains.
Mm.
You've got a food cart, you've got like a lounge cart, you have your own like booth where you sit in,
Wow.
and if you pay extra money, you can have a like a whole sleeping cart to yourself. So you get a bed, a desk, a toilet, a bathroom.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, but the
I had no
tickets are
idea.
insane. $1,100.
Might be worth it.
So from here, From where I live to Boston is a 3-hour drive. 3-hour drive if I were to drive. So
Hmm.
everything's in proximity. Philadelphia's right around the corner. Washington D.C. is like a 5-hour drive.
Dude, I gotta come visit.
Washington D.C. is a 3-hour, 4-hour drive. So you're everywhere's in proximity. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yep, that's right.
Dude.
That's just right outside of where I park my car. Actually,
Nice.
yeah,
Man, I've never been in like the northeast coast area.
yeah. Well, it's funny because then you start to think about it. You're like, well, why is everything so close? But you think back into history and the Boston Tea Party, Washington D.C., all those things needed to be so well connected
Yeah.
because that's all there was to America was the northeast portion of the United States,
Yeah.
for a very long time, and then the South for the long time, like the Louisiana Purchase, that was owned by France, and then we purchased it from France, and all this other stuff. It's
Hmm.
quite interesting. Chicago's only a 12-hour drive. It's a little further, but it's
See, this is why I started reading, you know?
yeah.
Just I have yet to dive into any sort of like a actual history book, but I think it'd be cool.
I love history. You know I love history.
That that must be one thing that has to come with age, you know?
Not not for me because I loved history ever since I took it.
Were you good at history?
Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I will say since I don't keep up with history as much as I was in primary school, so elementary school, middle school, and high school, of
Yeah.
course, you could ask me anything historically, and I knew
Yeah.
exactly what the dates were and all that other stuff because I was constantly reading about it. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing with technology. If you don't keep yourself keen to this kind of stuff, things start to become foggy. I've got general proximity. So you know what? Actually, I want to show you something.
Oh geez. Oh gosh. I love how Eric's room just always has like the most basic things. Oh gosh, he's got some books. Some books.
Okay, sorry. You had to tell the readers what I was doing. So I'm reading so two books. I've been reading this one for a while,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it's basically like his memoir. It's a freaking fantastic book that gives you a pretty good insight of just exactly what President Obama went through and what his administration and time in office were like. But
Mm.
this is, speak of history. I had to get this book for a class that I had, the history of opera. But, this goes through like shit, like German and Austria, all those. God damn. What the kind of history was there? And then I have another book, but I'm not going to go back and get it. God damn it.
Fuck. So frustrating.
My camera's not in focus anymore.
Dude, I love how the listeners and viewers are gonna slowly learn about Eric's um, needs and wants when it comes to audio and video equipment.
Whoa, what does that even mean?
You are just very, it's gotta be, Eric was telling me before the podcast started, he's like, it's like, dude, I could hear your fucking fan in the background. I was gonna rip your fucking head off. He didn't really say it like that. But I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have.
No. um, but yeah, so it's like I read those. I read those, those books because it's interesting. That's pretty much it. I don't really have a exact need to read those kinds of books other than they're interesting. It's something that interests me. And I suppose I need the knowledge being an opera singer to know the history of opera because it will only
Yeah, yeah,
help me do what I do essentially. So,
exactly.
but yeah, maybe you should read a history book.
I might have to. I mean, I still don't have the social medias.
Yeah.
Um, don't plan on putting them back on anytime soon. I've just been enjoying like the time to myself and figuring out other ways to spend that time, and reading has been one of them.
Nice.
So I'm still on meditations, um, just slowly breaking it down because just the verbiage isn't like, what do you call it? New English. What do we speak right now? Like what's this era of English? Because there's like old English, like old middle.
Yeah, you don't. It's I think it's New English. I think. Let me fact check. You keep talking.
I'm just all I'm saying is it's not how we speak today. It's a very difficult read when it comes to trying to decipher what is being said. So,
Modern.
and then modern.
Yeah.
That sounds totally right. So, I've been I've been journaling about it, kind of trying to take away the most I can from it, and I think something that I didn't that's something I didn't used to do, but I think that's what the teachers were trying to teach us back in the day when we were doing book reports, was as you're reading, you're breaking down like the literature and like understanding the text. I think that's what they wanted us to do, and but we just didn't understand at least I didn't understand the concept of what I was doing or why I was doing a book report. I thought it was just homework and I had to do it.
Yeah. I don't ever remember doing book reports.
What?
Yeah.
You don't remember doing book reports?
Mm-mm. I remember. I guess it was a book report, but it would always be like you read a section of the book and you answer questions.
Oh,
That's what I remember. I could have done a book report, but I don't ever remember reading a full book and reporting about it.
you, you never had like silent reading?
Yeah,
I feel like silent reading was dedicated to a portion of your book report.
it could have been. Maybe I have done book reports. I just can't remember.
I wonder if book reports are also a way for teachers to take like a 15-minute break.
Could be. That's really interesting that you say a way of understanding text, because you're 100% right. There's because I've taken a lot in my undergraduate. I had to take a lot of non-music classes, and I
Yeah.
chose to take a lot of philosophy classes. And I had to read a lot of philosophical books and articles, of course, and then we would write about them. The reason why I liked philosophy classes is because there wasn't a lot of writing, but there was a lot of talking.
Hmm.
So we would all sit down in class and we would talk about what we read or talk about our ideas and how they apply to what we're learning now. I love my philosophy of education teacher I had. She was fantastic. Every class I was looking forward to that class, and it was so early in the morning. But and we had our finals and midterms were writing finals and midterms. But I got a whole new perspective for understanding things for what they are versus just face value, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, totally.
for instance, reading a sentence or a passage in a book and saying, okay, well, this is this and this is this. It really makes you go beyond what is just written on the page. It makes you think, and how you apply that to yourself, how that's been applied to society, and how that's been applied to other people. And I think that's the most interesting thing.
So oddly enough, when you said not just taking things for face value,
Yeah.
it reminded me I had to take some general studies classes back when I was trying to get my welding degree,
Yeah.
and I had to take a reading class, and it like I think the highest level class I ever got into was like a 200 level
Yeah. Writing?
um,
You said writing or reading?
reading,
Oh, okay.
and it was so weird because the instructor, um, and it was so weird, man. The instructor and the whole course was basically how fast could you read words.
Oh God, I hate that.
Like it's just, he was just like he wanted you to read like 500 words a minute. That was like the goal. And I'm like, what am I taking from this book if
Yeah.
I'm reading 500 words a minute? Like he
Right.
just wanted you to skim. Just skim and then like take keywords here and there and try to process it as a story as you're reading it. And I was like, this is crazy weird. Is that weird? Or is that the
No.
point of reading?
No. So it's not weird, and I see where he's going with this. There's what he's teaching you, what I believe that he was trying to teach you or teach that class. And I tell some of my younger people that I know there is an art to
Hmm.
skim reading. And I was never good at really skim reading because I hated it because I didn't fully understand what was being said. I got enough information to make a project or a presentation or whatever was a product of skim reading. And certain classes I didn't, if I didn't like a certain class or I wasn't fully invested in a certain class, I would skim read, and
Mm-hmm.
did just fine. I got A's in those classes. But if there was, like, all my philosophy classes I took, that was really interesting for me. So I read every single word and I tried to have it make sense in my mind. But what he was teaching you is that there, in certain instances in life, you won't have the time to sit down and read 600 pages or 300 pages. You need to learn the art of skim reading to get as much information as you can, as quickly as you can. And then you use the skills to make a product of that, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So anything that requires, now there's a lot of things, I think, a lot of careers out there that require skim reading, but I think there's, like, for instance, in my mind, things that don't require skim reading are jobs like a lawyer. A lawyer can't skim read. I mean, they can,
Okay.
but they can't because
Right.
they need to know every single detail and they need to go back and read every single court case to help their own case that may be similar, right? So they need to know every single little word and really understand it to make an argument. But now let's say, and I'm not saying, because again, I don't know fully, but like someone who's in just general business, for say, like an accountant. An accountant probably, well, the accountant's not a good example, but just any kind of business. I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but you're not going to fully sit down and read something fully if it isn't required. Now, you will if it is required that you need to do that, but if it's something that is helping you but not pivotal to what you're doing, then you just go through and just skim read it and you're like, okay, find all these points, boom, put it in my
Yeah.
presentation, here it is.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Right. So I think that's where he was coming from with that. And people don't like to skim read because people don't really fully understand. And I'm the same. I don't like skim reading because I feel like I'm kind of wasting my time not getting a full grasp of what I'm reading. But in certain situations, I think skim reading's good, because if it's something that's not super detrimental, then you just skim read and you pull information from it that's needed and you move on.
Damn. So interesting. You know, the older I get, the more I realize that something, things can't be explained to me in one way. And I think that is like a pro and a con in itself, you know?
Can you elaborate on what do you mean by that?
So let's just call it the average explanation. The average way of explanation is how, is like the first way of explaining it. The first way of explaining something to me, or the standard way of explaining anything to anybody, for some reason doesn't do it in my noggin. And I need a second explanation in a different format for me to fully understand what is being said. Like I have to hear it twice, but in two variations. Otherwise, I'm just like
Yeah.
lost.
Can you give me an example of?
Gosh. Okay. An example that happens quite often is me and Josh at work.
Okay.
Um, he'll explain a task for me on like something that needs to be fabricated, right? He'll explain it the first way, and I mostly understand what's going on and what I need to be doing. But then I'll ask him one more time, "Can you explain that again?" And you and because him and I work so well together, he understands that I need a different way of explanation in order to fully understand the task.
Yeah.
So that could just be good communication between him and I. But usually I'll just keep asking questions until I hear it the right way from people. So people that aren't Josh.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation. If I don't know the person very well, I'm not going to ask them for more of their time and explanation, and I'll just figure it out.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, I don't think you're the only one like that.
Right.
I
It's
think
like
there are a
when,
lot of people like that, actually,
right,
because the only way that you could do something efficiently is to understand it.
right,
And someone else's way of understanding is could be completely different than yours,
right.
but there's always a way around. There's always other ways of putting things that would make sense to somebody else. Um, as a teacher,
There we go.
I understand exactly what you're saying, because when I'm teaching someone something, they might not fully understand the way what the general way of how something needs to go.
Mm,
So
general. I
it's
like that.
it's supposed to be. I always find it to be creative, if that makes sense. I always like to find a creative way of explaining something to somebody,
Okay.
because I think a lot of human beings are creative. I think all of us are creative. So, um, to explain something creatively might be just what that person needs. And maybe you're the same way. Maybe you need it to be explained in a creative way versus just a cold cut. And there are a lot of people who are just give me the instructions and I'll follow
Face
them to a
value.
T. Right. Give me the instructions and I'll just go with it. For me,
Yeah.
I question instructions. I'm like, well, why? When I'm building something and I'm reading the instructions, I'm talking to myself and I'm like, why the fuck do they want me to do that? That makes no sense.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hobby. Interesting.
And I think that has to do with multiple ways of learning, because there are lots of ways there of learning. You could be an auditory learner, you could be a visual learner, you could be I don't remember what they all are, but everybody has their own way of learning. But our system in America has taught us to just do the general. And then if the general isn't understood, then hopefully the students or hopefully the individual will ask questions. And then it's the teacher's job. Why you become a teacher is to be able to explain something in different ways, just not the general way. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Something just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Remember how we were talking about school last podcast,
Yeah.
or the
Or
school system,
yeah, 2 podcasts.
teachers,
Was that last
whenever
podcast?
that was?
Whatever. Yeah. In a
But
previous podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
shouldn't the maybe I just never realized this in school. But the grades I just realized the grades aren't for the students. The grades are for the teachers, and the grades indicate which students need more help than others. Do you think they realize that? And obviously there's kids that just don't want to give the effort, right?
I don't
But
know if I
grades should be
agree
a
with that.
no?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think you're on the right path. I think
Let's
it's
figure it out.
I think it's a system both for the student and the instructor,
Okay.
because having gone through the schooling I've gone through, the higher level education I've received, to me that is I've never been a person who chases grades. I want to
Okay.
get, in my family, getting good grades and being good in school is important, but I've never been the kind of person who cares about getting good grades. For me, I've always been the kind of person, am I understanding what is being taught? Because what is the point of going to school if you don't understand, and you're not, all the money you're spending, if you don't have a full concept of that?
Right.
You know? So that has been my entire schooling of how I go about things, but people don't understand that. People try to chase the grades,
Mhm.
to chase the school, but I'll tell you
Right.
this much right now. Schools like Harvard, Columbia, any private institution, grades are important, but that's not what they're necessarily looking for.
Who?
These private institutions, these Ivy League
Oh,
schools.
okay.
And for me as an individual who would be hiring anybody, I would hire somebody at a lower level who had gotten all A's, because what that tells me is that they can follow instructions and they get the job done. Now, this is really controversial what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh, well, the C and B students are the ones who become the CEO, because I don't necessarily agree with that. I think anybody can be a CEO.
Yeah.
But anyways, to get back to your point, sorry, I got way off on a tangent here.
I know. I was like, where's this going, Bobby?
Yeah, sorry. I'll reel it in. I think the system of grading is also, it's meant for the student and the professor. It's an indication of who is struggling in certain areas and who is not struggling in certain areas. But I don't think it's fully meant for that, because then if you focus on all the students who are getting poor grades, then you're leaving behind the people who are getting the great grades. And that doesn't mean the people who are getting the good grades still don't need help to understand something. It just means that they're hard working, they can persevere, and
Oh, so
there is, of course, there's some muddy and unclearness to this kind of into this system. But I don't think it is just solely meant for the teachers. I don't think that's what it's meant for, because I think it's also a kind of a warning system for the student to say, okay, well, something's not clicking here. I'm getting C's on all my stuff. What's going on?
So, but as a young student, receiving the C's and D's, let's say,
Yeah.
it which was me, it never was a trigger in my head to go ask the teacher for more help. You know, it was more of like, dude, I suck at this class. You know, and it's like you'd try harder, but it's like no matter how hard you tried, you still didn't grasp the whole concept.
Yeah. Oh God. I don't want to hear it. um.
And maybe that's something else we talked about on that podcast was that we didn't feel like we could go to the teachers for help. Maybe that was another reason why I kept getting bad grades is because I was like, I don't want to ask for help. I don't feel like they made it available for us to receive help.
I think it probably stems more from asking from help. It's probably just being an introverted person. It's hard being an introverted person going up to people and asking for help.
Well,
I mean, that's why
why?
I didn't, because I was afraid. And there's other things that are involved in that, you know.
There's only two teachers that I ever had that actually approached me when I was getting C's and D's and said, hey, like, do you need a hand with this? Do you need help understanding this? There's only two teachers that ever came to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the teacher's job is to come to you when you have bad grades and say, hey, do you need to understand this better?
It 100% is the teacher's jobs.
Okay. I'm glad. Okay.
I
I'm glad
don't
you
I
agree.
don't think that the teachers just get up, give a lecture, and don't help their students. If that's what you do as a teacher, you need to quit your job and do something else. I'm being so serious about that.
Do you? All right. Okay. I know you are. But do you think per school district, do you think that's the culture? Do you think the culture of the school district dictates whether or not you're going to have a school that's dedicated to helping the kids?
Repeat that.
Like, so let's say you're a new teacher straight out of college
Yeah.
for teaching,
Right.
and you go to, so and so high school, and you're super excited to teach, but then you soon realize that the culture of the way the school works is most of the teachers just are there to give the lecture and to not do the full job of teaching. And then do you adopt those same like principles as all the other teachers, or do you stand out and actually help your students?
I think you stand out and you help your students.
The a good person would, right?
Right. I think someone who cares would.
Who cares?
Because
So
go ahead.
that must be then the flaw. Like when they say the flaw of the public school system, that must be the flaw then is the effort that the teachers are willing to give is not there. No?
Yeah. But it's also you got to look on both sides of the argument here, right? Because yes, it is the teacher's job to be there to see what's going on in the student and helping out where help is needed. But then also someone who has um, been doing it for years and years and years, when it's the same rinse and repeat, you know, of, oh, well, I helped this student. They don't give a crap. Just rinse and repeat. Then I could see where a teacher says, all right, I'm just going to give up and give my lecture. If the students don't care, they don't care. And then that argument comes. So what's going on outside of the school that is making students behave this way inside of the school, right? And then that becomes a parenting issue, not a schooling issue. It's not the school's job to parent a child.
Right.
So,
Dynamics.
right. So
We're getting deep.
that is that's
Yeah.
where you kind of get into some of that kind of muddy waters, because I could see some teachers getting in trouble of what's going on here, going too far, and then they were getting into some parenting issues, right?
Yeah.
And those we don't have the answers for, because
No.
I'm not a parent. I don't know what it's like, so I can only speak from an educational standpoint,
Speculate.
right, of what I think it could be. Um, but I think that every teacher who gets into teaching should want to be able um, to realize these things, that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just weird. And maybe there's some administrative stuff that says, nah, you can't. But then and then that's getting into a whole other
Like
can of worms.
conspiracy.
Right. Let's get in
Yeah.
a whole other can.
We don't
Ooh,
need that.
we should have a conspiracy podcast.
No. No.
Yeah, you
I
got.
gotta drop. I gotta drop on the conspiracies for a minute.
Oh
I gotta. I
shit.
gotta pull back. I gotta pull out. That's why I deleted social media partially, was because I was like, dude, I'm becoming a crazy boy. I'm like, people
Oh.
are starting to question me.
Oh,
So,
I see. I see. I
and
see.
I feel better not knowing all of that. It's there's this fine line of like exposing yourself to this like stress,
Yeah.
and then just like, you know what? If I don't know about it, it's not happening. There's two different sides of the story on that one. So I'm giving this side of the story a ride for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm very ill informed these days because I don't have media outlets.
do you read the news? Do you
I
watch the news?
downloaded I downloaded the Google News app on my phone, and I just kind of like scroll through, all these different sections, global, US, blah 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 blah,
Yeah. I think it's important to at least read news news articles. I think
Yeah.
that's important, just so that you know what's going on
Yeah,
in our world, even
for
though
sure.
um even though there is some toxicity in that.
Yeah, I tried to find I think they said that like Google News was one on like top 5 most unbiased news sources.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah,
I'll give
don't
that.
go read an article from The Onion.
I don't
Sorry,
even know what
I
that
could
is.
get into another. Speaking of education, I could get in a whole other can of worms about credible sources. You
Mm.
know what? I'm going to point it out, and I'm going to speak out a little bit on my own experience. There's an individual in my family who just first article that pops up on Google, this is credible. I'm like, if it's from The Onion, it's not.
I lack the knowledge on this topic, Eric.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I can inform you and the listeners on credible sources at some point.
Okay.
This light is freaking. Oh!
Oh my gosh, dude. What do you got in front of you? I'm just like, why do I look like such a fucking onion?
I got my ring light. See, I could change
Oh,
it.
that looks way better.
See, I could,
Do
you
I look
know.
better or
See,
worse?
I got the warm colored there. I don't know. Oh wait, what did you do? Is that the your ring light?
Well, I got like this LED bar light thing. Oh, that
Oh,
looks good.
yeah.
That's bright as fuck though. How do you?
See, that is just maybe not right. Are we liking the warmth here? I think the
When I
warm.
I look more tan when I do this, or maybe I look yellow. I need to drink some water.
I think I look more normal with the more warmth colored.
Oh,
But anyways, this podcast has been way too long. We
no,
started
it
this
hasn't.
we started this when the sun's up. Now it's gone for me.
Part 6. Yeah.
So I think we ought to wrap. How long has it been? 2 hours?
Hour 20.
Oh, perfect.
Didn't
Perfect.
even get to talk about my topic, bro.
Ah, shit. Well, it's too long now. We'll save that for next week. No?
Oh,
No? Can you make it quick?
no.
Okay, I was gonna say this. See, I knew we're gonna freaking tease the audience here for a second, but I knew that. Oh, see, that could be a doozy, Bobby. That could be a deep one again. So I wanted to lighten this one up a little bit, so the people that listen aren't like, "Damn, these guys are fucking depressing."
Sure.
After all, we are in the comedy section of Spotify.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, dude. I gotta. You didn't even comment on my fucking pancake fucking mess this morning.
I lost my shit. I I
Dude,
lost it. Just the fact that you
wow.
exactly what you said after you're like, I feel dumb as shit because I know exactly. I know exactly. I had that moment last night. I had that literal moment. I'm like, you fucking dumb piece of shit. Just dumb. And you sit there. It's a brief moment of, oh my God.
What an idiot. What an idiot. Dude.
Because then you start realizing you're like, I'm just an idiot for just doing that. But then the reality kicks in of, I have to throw that food away now.
Oh my God. You don't
and
even
you and
know.
you just wasted half a smoothie. That is that's the second thought that rolls.
Here's the situation. I think we can end the podcast.
Yeah.
We can give it 7 more minutes, hour
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, I woke up this morning at 6:30, right?
Yeah.
Just naturally.
Yeah.
Woke up at 6:30 and I was like,
Internal
"Nope,
clock.
nope." I'm like, "We're going back to bed." And so I went back to bed until 11.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been a delinquent like that in so long. I
Right.
was like, "No." I'm like, "Sleep, bitch." So I slept, and when I woke up at 11, dude, because I've been on this food schedule
Yeah.
for like so long,
Right.
I was like, "Dude, I'm so hungry." So I was like, "I'm gonna make the biggest batch of pancakes I can make."
Oh Lord.
I made like, I think I had like 15 there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, these are all going down the hatch." So I ate two, right? And then I went and I made my smoothie and I finished off the pancakes, threw them all on a plate. Separate plate for pancakes, separate plates for eating. What?
Were these protein pancakes?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew it. All right, continue.
And so I made the smoothie and I just got the NutriBullet or whatever magic bullet, whatever the hell it is.
Nutra.
And I after today I'm never drinking out of one of those cups again because I looked at the base of it and it's basically just like it's basically
Penny.
sitting on like two credit cards that are just in like a plus or a cross sign. And so if it tips, bro, it's just out the window. I didn't even know what I was doing, man. I like reached across the table. I set the smoothie down. Maybe I was grabbing the syrup or something or the
Just
butter.
dumb hands, just flinging your hands across the
Dude,
table.
yep, too close proximity. Barely bumped the smoothie, and it literally just fell like a tree right on top of my pile of pancakes, and just wiped them out. Just wiped the whole fucking, or it wasn't the whole. It was half the smoothie. Just
Wait, so this the smoothie fell onto the batch of pancakes, and you only had two on your current plate?
yeah, I ate two. I threw two more on my
No.
plate. Set the smoothie down. Went to grab the syrup. Timber, like 14 or
So you had
13 pancakes.
11 pancakes were sitting on that plate
Yeah,
still.
or 11. Yeah,
Oh
just
no.
boom, tsunami of smoothie, just fucking. And I was like, I made a little sad face. I just like, dude, No way.
And then the
And then
anger comes.
I picked up the smoothie. I still had like half, and
Chuck it at the wall.
I just was like, I'm like, this needs to be documented. So I sent the boys a Snapchat and threw this fucking pancakes away, and I only had 4 pancakes today
Oh no.
out of my like 15. So bummer, dude. So stupid.
Oh no.
I didn't let it ruin my day though. I'm gonna be a little bit, salty about it, but I couldn't help but laugh after I recorded it, watched it one time, and I was like,
So
this will make somebody laugh.
so if that would have happened with all of us guys there, you would have taken that cup and chucked it at the wall or something, and that smoothie, which would have fucking exploded.
I probably
All of us would have been rolling.
What I would have done is I would have taken my fist and I would have just fucking boom, I would have just hammered the fucking full plate of smoothie pancake.
Oh no. Oh.
That's what I would have done. I would have got it all over everybody. You
Oh.
guys can suffer with me.
That's hilarious.
That's what I would have done.
Oh no. Gosh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
So stupid, man. Whatever. I'm making pancakes tomorrow. I'm doing it. I'm keeping that smoothie in a big like mug so it can't flip over.
Put it in your protein, your
Yeah,
shaker things. Yeah.
That's what I do when I go to work. But fuck me, I'm just home alone this weekend, and I'll just save a dish. Idiot.
Gosh. Do you have a dishwasher there?
Yeah.
Pop that bitch in the dishwasher.
Yeah, well, still.
Gosh. Well, anyways, that's all I got.
That's right. You heard it here, folks. You vagabonds.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the word, right?
Yes, that's the word.
Okay. I wrote it down here. I was gonna introduce the podcast.
Oh.
I had a little slogan that I was gonna say. Slogan.
What was
Yeah,
it?
that's gotta be it. What's going on, vagabonds? Welcome to the Late Night Tangents, episode 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Throw it at the end of the
Late Night
podcast.
Tangents episode. Podcast 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Late Night Tangents podcast, episode 9.
Late Night Tangents episode podcast.
Got that reversed there. Alrighty. Well, that's it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm about out of ideas for this week.
Alrighty. Well, we'll catch you next week.
Yep.
All right. Bye.